Welcome everybody to our Monday night teaching. We are going to be learning tonight about colon detoxing. When, how, and why. So we're going to start with a little bit of a different approach today. We're going to talk about, let it move, trains. So we want to talk about trains in relation to the colon. And you're probably thinking, how in the world did this woman come up with this? Well, what we're going to do is consider that the trains have to do with the bowel. And if we eat 2 meals a day, 3 meals a day, shouldn't we be having the bowels moving 2 or 3 times a day? And the answer is yes. So would you believe it if I told you that it was so common for me to run into people who are having one train exiting the station a day, or one train exiting the station every couple days, or even as extreme as once every 6 weeks, and the doctor told them they were normal? Well, in my mind's eye, we've got quite a bit of train derailment going on in here, and things are backed up somewhere in the system. So if you do the simple math, 3 trains go in the tunnel, how many trains should come out the other end of the tunnel? 3, right? So in 7 days' time, if we're eating 3 meals a day, we in essence have had 21 trains enter the station. If we are only having 1 or 7 trains leave during that week's time period, you might want to listen to the rest of this presentation because we've got some trains. We need to go on a search mission. So what does this look like? What are the symptoms of a clogged colon? And I'm going to tell you, there are a lot. We're going to start with a couple here, and I'm just going to be throwing some stuff out here. Things that might surprise people, things that can be tied to a clogged colon. Well, it's pretty obvious that we know about constipation, which apparently I think has an S on the end of it. But did you know food cravings could be tied to this? How about bad breath? It's not just because you didn't brush your teeth or use your mouthwash. How about eczema? Circles under the eyes. That's another big one I look for. Here we've got some more. Continues on. Joint pain, low energy, headaches, hemorrhoids. Yeah, that one people don't often think, but if we're in there straining in the bathroom, then yeah, we're creating that issue. Nausea, menstrual pain. For women, I want you to be thinking about where the reproductive tract lies and how that can tie in and be affected by a clogged colon. And here we've got some more. Obesity, parasites. We've got prostate issues here that we can be talking about. Rashes, varicose veins. There is so many issues and symptoms that can be tied to a clogged colon. And like I said, this is just a few of them. So what does a healthy colon look like? It really should have this type of shape that you're seeing on your right. We've got the ascending colon going up, and again, notice it says no buildup, transverse colon going across, descending colon, sigmoid flexure, and exit the station. When we have a healthy colon, we should not have constipation. We should should not be having excess weight whenever we have a healthy colon. We should have no gas or bloating. But when we're looking at an unhealthy colon, notice the different strictures are in here. It's not evenly shaped all the way around. Can you see why people would be straining and having, whether they're being diagnosed with irritable bowel, different types of other colon issues or growths, or whether there's all kinds of names for the different health issues when they come in and diagnose things that are related to the unhealthy colon. But look at all the different shapes and stuff that can be tied in here. And again, this is one view. So I want people to notice where they get discomfort, because often they can pinpoint a specific area where they are bothered on a regular basis. And I thought it was kind of interesting, and you guys might find it fascinating, I know I do, to look at some of the different areas where the nerve endings or where things get tied into the colon that they're not aware of. If you guys remember me talking about an area that I ended up having issues with that I used the ProBio IQ with to challenge and work on some areas, it is actually in the area where the adrenal glands are tied in. And so it makes perfect sense. But we've got, look, thyroid gland comes in a specific area over there on the ascending colon area. We could end up with issues tied to the thymus gland, which is going to have to do with your immunity, the eyes. All of these have specific areas. So if we have an area, like we saw in that other picture, where the colon is holding on to stuff and not allowing it to pass through, then we're going to end up having toxins. So let's think about this. The colon's job is to remove excess moisture so that the fecal material can move out. Now, when we're not moving out on a regular basis, as in the trains are not exiting the tunnel, the longer that material sits in that area of the body, the more that it starts feeding toxins into that area of the body. And we literally create something we call stinking thinking. So it kind of makes sense. And so just think about this. The longer and longer it's there, the more and more toxins that are circulating, the more and more, I talked about rashes, skin issues, foggy thinking, fatigue. There's all kinds of different diseases, states that can start to arise from that clogged colon. It's not uncommon for younger children to end up with an impacted colon these days. I've seen so much of it, and I literally was in at the chiropractor about 2 weeks ago, and they were dealing with a young child. The mother was talking about that the doctors were at the ER were just saying it's an impacted colon and weren't really being able to give them anything to challenge this issue. Now, it's more than an impacted colon. I want you to understand that, because it all ripples out and it's affecting all these other areas of the body. This becomes very important, and this is why this is such a critical area to address when we go to improving our health. So people often ask me, where do I start? Well, I really, really like the Good Track 14-day cleanse and whole body detox, because it is very, very gentle on the system. And we're going to get into a little bit of the details with it. But we've got the fiber. The fiber is so important, and it's got multiple other benefits that help enhance that tract, the bowel tract, digestive tract, so it can move things out. It is the probably best tasting fiber I've ever had. When I do the cleanse, I'm mixing up the 8 ounces of the Vital, putting in the good vibration, shaking it up and downing it, and then following with another 8 ounces of water. The Vital is also going to be alkalizing the acids and the toxins, helping clean the blood, helping to move this out. The Fast Track actually is probably the most total bowel elimination products that I've ever seen. You can sit down, be done with your business, and get up and go. The Fast Track is taken with this because, again, we're talking about a bowel that's not maybe eliminating completely, as in it's eliminating poorly. And then we've got the Omnitox DC, which is going to support, it's got some anti-parasitic herbs in it. It's got some herbs in it, specifically Mangista is an outstanding one that helps to work with the lymphatics. The lymphatics has always been an issue with me, and often with blue-eyed people, whether they're aware of it or not. That can be an underlying concern that they need to work with. But this is a very simple cleanse. It's 14 days long. You get in, you can take care of it, and it's one of the most effective, gentle places that people can start. And again, simple and to the point, and it gets things done. You do it twice a day. So I did want to share kind of a really neat story here that Sam offered up to us, tied specifically to her journey with me in cleansing.
Hi guys, I just wanted to take a minute and share with you my story about detox. When I met Valerie a little over 2 years ago, it was June of 2018, I was actually on the first month of a 3-month program for a heavy metal and non-organic detox from actually a local doctor here in town. This detox program that they put me on was so harsh and so difficult on my body that when I found Valerie after month 1 of that 3-month program, I literally was at the point where when I went in and I saw her, I told her I felt like I was going to die. I had zero energy. The program they had me on was scraping through my body and removing everything, including all of the good. And with that being said, they had even front-loaded my system with their nutrition, their IV infusions, all of that direct, what was supposed to be good for me, intake before they put me on this program. So when I found Valerie and I started taking this Whole Naturals, within 2 to 3 weeks tops, I literally went from feeling negative, about to die, to jumping into almost overload. As like 3 weeks later, I started a workout program and I had so much energy and I was feeling so good. I wanted to do all the things. And the biggest learn for me through all of that was that you have to give your body time. You have to allow your body time to regenerate the cells. And
Oh, hang on. There we go.
oops, got bumped into. You have to allow your body to regenerate itself and feed itself back healthy with giving it good nutrition and taking proper care of yourself, slowing down, if you want to have any kind of results of what your head is expecting from your body. So started with Valerie in June, was on the program for, like I said, 3 weeks, started into a workout program, realized very quickly that that was too much too soon for my body, so I backed off on that. But also along that time, of course, with being so sick and feeling so unhealthy for so long, I wanted to do all the things that I could to feel better. And so one of the things that I kept asking her about was, when can I do a detox? When can I do a detox? And of course, it's pretty typical to do a fall detox and a spring detox. And I knew that was coming up, and I kind of was wanting to jump ahead of the game. And I asked her, can I please do this detox? I want my body to, I want to shed all this excess. And she actually told me no. And I wasn't very happy about that. But in hindsight, with the bigger picture, I really understand why. I allowed myself a full 3 months at that point of being on good nutrition, good adaptables, good intake. I would walk instead of trying to run or go lift weights so that I still was getting movement in my body. And then I want to say it was like middle October, end of October, that she did actually let me do the detox. And the cool thing about that detox versus what they were doing from the doctor's office in June was the fact that my body could handle it. It was so gentle. The way that Soul's products work within your body, taking out the trash, it works. I wasn't running to the bathroom. I wasn't super stressed out about it. It was very easy to add into my day. And I definitely would recommend, if you think that your body's ready for it, giving it a try. So that's my 2 cents.
So I think this is such an important concept, because I cannot tell you how many times I have people that call me, message me. They would walk in the door when they had the shop, and the first thing out of their mouth is, I want to do a detox. I want to do a cleanse. So I want to give you a little bit of information to help decide whether it's to cleanse or not to cleanse. So we're going to look at the yes, go for it column, because we've already looked at a portion of the symptoms that can show up. So kind of give you an idea to help make the decision. So if you just want to be proactive with your health, yes, go for it. If you eat or have eaten a standard American diet in the past, the SAD diet, yes, I think that's an outstanding time to go ahead and jump in and cleanse. If you've been on medications like what Troy went through with all the meds that were used in conjunction with the supplements to help save his life, and we're coming out of this, yes, we'll be doing some fall detoxing with him because his body is ready to do it. Cravings, we talked a little bit about that. If you're just dealing with cravings, yeah, let's go for it. Concentration issues, you've got the go ahead. Body odor, big thing and reason to cleanse. Yes, go for it. This is another one, preparing for pregnancy. I love it when moms or couples will come to me, and about 6 months before they're looking at getting pregnant, And this is one of the things that I always do is we get in and we cleanse the body in preparation so that you can build the most healthy child possible. If you're dealing with headaches, yes, this is a great time. Here's another big one. If you have time to read a novel during your bathroom visit, you should probably look at doing a cleanse. Now, there are times where, like with Sam, I want instead for a person, I'm going to recommend that they wait and build instead. And that's because if you are in like the state Sam was in, the worst thing that we could have done was to continue to push her like that. That is not healthy. When I work with detoxing, we're listening to the body, we're working and meeting them where they're at. But what we got to understand is soul products are so powerful that when we add in the right nutrition, which is the Bella Health program in general, we're supporting the body, getting its nutrition, and then on its own, it can start to detox when it's ready. So what does that look like? If a person's been sick or failing to thrive for a long period of time, we're not going to jump in and cleanse. We're going to build. If they've had long periods of continuous fasting or detoxing, otherwise they're in an exhaustive state. They may have been cleaning house, but that doesn't mean that you want to keep on cleaning. I mean, think about it as like a cleaning spree. Can you go on nonstop cleaning spree for 3 or 4 days and nights straight without being exhausted, without feeling like you got to prop your eyelids open? Absolutely not. It's better to wait and build instead. And again, if you're dealing with exhaustion or mental burnout, so kind of keeping those ideas in mind. And finally, pregnant or nursing. I do not agree with cleansing or detoxing when you're in that state because those toxins are going to pass on to the child. You can still tackle these concerns by building and supporting the system. So again, if you got the red light on there with the better wait and build, here's where you're going to start. We've talked about the Bella Beautiful Health Program a lot. And think about it, it's getting that foundation set so you can weather the storm, so you can weather the detox. The adaptogens in it, like Sam said, made it a much easier experience to go through. Now I'd like to hand this over to Greg Halliday, who's the founder and president of Soul Naturals, and I've asked him to talk a little bit about the special things regarding soul, and you'll see some of the items down here below. So Greg, if you would take it away, I've given you the field here. And do you need to let go of the screen share for you?
Oh, no, that'd be great. You can just leave it as is. Thank you, Valerie. And I very much enjoyed the education. I love the list of to cleanse or not to cleanse. I need one of those. We all do when we're talking to people. You made me think of several things that I could talk about and share with you tonight. And hello, everybody. It's nice to spend some time with you. I always like talking about the ways in which we're different. And I guess we should talk about sometime the ways in which we're similar maybe to other natural health companies. And I guess because I don't want anyone to ever feel like that we don't feel a camaraderie for those who really believe in using natural means to balance health. I think that's a similarity we all have. But we did choose a very distinct path in formulation. And I believe that it was a result of so many years. As many of you might know, I knew Valerie for probably close to 20 years before we founded Soul. And that experience was with hundreds, literally 600 plus different products and ingredients in the thousands of herbs around the world that we dealt with. And one thing that I've noticed, and is the first point that I wanted to share tonight, it just seems to be getting increasingly popular and commonplace to search through the scientific eye and find what we can isolate and concentrate it and use it to work on our health. But the more things are isolated, I'm talking about nutrients in the plants, chemical components that benefit, that play a role in health, the more we isolate them, the more we're actually forcing the body. And I don't know how many times, just listening tonight to what Valerie said and listening to Sam's testimony, which I really appreciated, we believe that working with the body is actually the faster road to balance. It's not really intuitive. It's kind of counterintuitive because we think we're so, I think, biased in our culture and in our, perhaps our country, and the propaganda that's the most common, that the more powerful something is in forcing the body away from the direction it's at to, even with good motives to fix it, the better it is. And it just seems to cause more problems. That's my 30 years now, observing, listening, and talking with wonderful people like Valerie. It is literally the opposite of that. The health improvements that stay with us, to me, are those that work with the body. And so the first thing that we do at Souls, as we try to concentrate plants as completely as possible. If it's the root, if it's the stem or the leaf or the part that is used or the flower, we try to get as best as possible everything, all the components in there that you can possibly preserve when you take an extract in a dry powder form. And that form, because it keeps the longest and the highest number of components stay active in our belief when we do it in that form. So even our drinks, as you all know, are not sold in liquid form. And there's a very important reason for that. The one that I just mentioned, it was one of the first, I think, tenets of our philosophy, was to try to preserve as best we can all the components. And so dealing with complete herbal powders, and almost always in a concentrated form, so that enough of the nutrition is available to us that we see a difference. That's point number 2. Very often people nowadays don't have the patience to see it through if they have to be weeks and weeks on something before they see anything. And that is why you'll notice so many extracts in Soul products, but they're different than the other extracts. They're not isolated components, individual things pulled out. They're, as I mentioned, as complete as possible, the whole part of the plant that's used. And in some cases, it's the entire plant if all of it is used. The third point would be adaptogens. Maybe that should have been the first, but I felt like Valerie covered that so well. And Sam referenced it too. Adaptogens are a huge difference maker because, for the very reason that they're very broad and very balanced already in their active components, that is a core philosophy and will always be part of all our products. And is one of the reasons why you see additional products coming through Soul, because there are some adaptogens still that are important that we want to also carry and include as a boosting product, or sometimes we'll add them to an existing product. For instance, in the coming month, you'll see another one coming with some additional adaptogens. They all have properties in common, but they also all have unique compounds that aren't found in any other plant, but them. And we look at it this way: if that uniqueness brought into the nutrition makes all the difference for Sam, where she worked with something else and wasn't able to get a result, then all of it's worth it. And that's why we favor variety, because we want to be there for everyone and provide adaptogens for every situation. So I think adaptogens, purposely not isolating compounds, concentrating up and having oftentimes 4 and 5 and 6 and 10 times the concentrate of a raw powder. Those are all 3 key differences with Soul. And I think that our background with so many different herbs is maybe the 4th point that I'd mentioned. And that is that we do include other herbs that aren't necessarily adaptogens that are important in the role that they play when they're combined. with adaptogens and with probiotics and enzymes and those other co-ingredients that are important to get the maximum result as best that we know from all the learning and the experiences we've all gone through. So I don't know, I hope, Valerie, that mentions, I could have, talked about the sole certain quality guarantee, which itemizes some other ways in which soul's unique. But I thought I'd maybe just mention philosophically the principles that set us apart, because very many companies now will have independent lab testing and verification of raws and so many of the standard, I think, essentials in quality support. But I can put isolated herbs and one active ingredient that's in a natural state that's been pulled away from the rest of the plant and meet all the rest of the quality standards and have a very different result, I believe. And so the holistic philosophy to us is the key. And I really didn't even mention, because adaptogens, to me, it's one and the same, that nourishing both body and emotion and mind, with a particular emphasis on including additional herbs that deal with that aspect, is, I guess it could maybe be a fifth point tonight, because Valerie talked about the good track, cleanse, and detox. And both the fast tract and Omnitox, they include a very important adaptogen that was known to calm the central nervous system and have a very major effect in the whole gastrointestinal area, and that's holy basil, one of our very favorites for that. And so it's an adaptogen, does all the other things that adaptogens do. But even our products that are meant to detox and cleanse, we make every effort to design in them elements to ensure that we'll work with the body. And that's why I loved hearing what Sam said. It just didn't seem to be so hard on me going through that detox and cleansing when she was doing it with the program that Valerie was helping her with the Soul products. That is our aim, is to work with the body. And sometimes we think that somehow less harsh means less clean. And I do not believe that's the case. I'm like Valerie. I think you can be choosy about when you cleanse. You can build, and in building, the body will begin its detox because it's naturally designed to do so. And then I can, in the right moments, I can do a more in-depth detoxing, and it won't be such a harsh experience for me, or it shouldn't be. So those are some of my thoughts. I don't know if that covers what you were hoping, Valerie. Do you have something that you'd like to add to that?
Nope, you got it. Hit the nail on the head. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Bet, my pleasure.
So this is right in target with this. People have lots of different reasons that they want to cleanse, but it's not uncommon for people to not realize that cleansing can directly affect sugar cravings. So I want to make certain that I share this direct quote. It says, "My sugar cravings have diminished dramatically. I stopped drinking soda pop about a week before the cleanse started and have only had one moment of wanting one on about day 12 of the cleanse. Other than that, I haven't wanted it at all. My brain feels less foggy, and overall, I feel way less puffy." So I just, people, that it seems to be a big struggle with people, is dealing with sugar cravings. And that, again, getting in and helping clean out those residues can help put you back in control. So I want to make certain people realize that we actually lead a fall detox group. It will be starting up around, I believe it's September 22nd, which is the first day of fall. You are welcome to join us. There's quite a few of us that are in there. We have support. We have daily videos helping people step through things, because there is so much involved. And having that support, knowing you are not alone going through it, is just, to me, I've had people tell me that it made all the difference to be able to ask the questions, have things answered, find out if they were the only one having this, what they thought was a weird thing happening, or maybe if they felt an emotion they hadn't been feeling, why is this going on? Or helping to understand why the body's talking in certain directions, or that there's something breaking out in a place, like, an area on the chin, or all kinds of things. The important thing is jumping in, doing it as a group together, and going through, and you know what, accountability, knowing you're not in there by yourself and doing it can make the difference too. So I want to make certain that people were aware of that. All they have to do is to, they message me, we can get them the information, or most anyone that's on this group can pretty much know how to get a hold of me. We get that information out. So what are the benefits to detoxing? Well, we could think of it really simple. Think of that list of all the symptoms that I gave you earlier of a clogged colon. The symptoms would be the opposite of that, or the benefits would be the opposite of the symptoms. So if we had a rash, the benefit would be the rash would work on going away. If we were having foggy thinking, the benefit would be we would get clearer thinking. If we were having mood swings, the benefit would be the mood swings would start to even out. So just think of it as the opposite of what we were talking about with the symptoms of a clogged colon. So to me, the other benefit is I start feeling more in control of my life and just feeling like the trash got taken out. Nobody wants the trash all stacked up in front of the front door to where you can't go in or out. Just because the kids take it that far does not mean they took out the trash. So I guess the biggest benefit becomes you get assistance in getting the trash taken out, and then you do feel cleaner. So here's my quote that I chose, and it's right in line with this. Better keep yourself clean and bright. You are the window through which you must see the world. People, if you realize how you even think or how your mood is, affects your ability to take in the information that's around you, assimilate the thinking, the thought processes, not have stinking thinking. To me, it's worth it to take the time to clean the windows, clean the body, so that we have a better opportunity to live our fullest and best life. So next week's topic, we will be talking about infatuate, the power of plant fats. And I would love to have everyone join us as we get empowered on our Monday night, next Monday at 6:30. So this ends our class on this. I am going to stop the recording now, but I would love if anyone had anything to share or any questions they want to ask, I would love to be able to hear from everybody and see what they had to say.